Chrome.
Lunch. Wow.
Open up Chrome. And on the little Chromecast thing there,
So where's our famous leader here?
he texted me earlier and said that he was not feeling good. He texted me last night, said he was under the weather, and put me in charge.
Yeah, I thought you were in charge of him.
I'm kind of retired.
Okay.
So
Chrome.
you want to click on the arrow first over on the right. Yep.
Okay.
And click the cast the whole
Cast the
screen.
whole screen. And Chromecast.
And
Do I need to do anything with options?
No. I don't think so. And you need to click on
Entire screen.
entire screen and click share. Or
Oh.
okay. That'll work too. There you go.
Okay, I'm there. Okay, what I said last time, so I was going to try to stick to 20 minutes. We've been talking about websites, and in particular, there's a member of our club who has this huge website, and we were talking, and he built it out of HTML a while ago. And we've been talking about different approaches to web design. Jeremy, who's another member, he gave a presentation last time on tips for web design. And then I'm going to talk about web design and how it's changed, but also mobile responsive web, which is the notion that websites should display and function properly on any size screen. There are more phones and tablets being sold now than PCs, particularly in the house. A lot of people. I was talking about to a neighbor, actually to her son, and he needed a PC. He had to come over to my house to use PC because his mother bought a tablet and say, that's it. And for what she's doing, it's fine, you know. So now most new websites are the ones that really expect to serve the entire market are mobile responsive. Okay, so we're on with that. Okay, I'm going to talk about old and new technology and how mobile fits into that, and I'm going to do a few demos. And last time we had some questions and answers, and this is kind of how it flows in the meeting. We talk about stuff. You know, we disagree on stuff, but we talk about it. In the old days, and I don't know if you remember Mosaic. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay.
Netscape.
Yeah, Netscape,
Yeah.
and then Internet Explorer, and the way people developed websites pretty much was by learning HTML tags and doing all your design with text editor, Notepad, Pico. That was one of the things for Linux. And in those days, the graphics were poor, connections were slow, and as I remember, things really didn't really get better then, but 1996, I remember, started to get better. That was the day of the 56 kilobit modem.
Yes.
Now, what has happened now is we have a lot of development tools, which makes it a lot easier to develop bigger and better websites. We have high-speed internet, so you can do streaming, and you also can display lots of graphics. And the devices, even the phones, are good at displaying the graphics. And most people are doing streaming now with their HD TVs. As a matter of fact, I got rid of conventional cable about 3 years ago. And I mean, I still have Time Warner, but I stream all my content, or I use the TV antenna. Cuts down on the price too. Okay. Big websites have thousands of pages, and one of our members, Ray, he has a website, and it's got a lot of pages. I mean, didn't count them. But the problem, and it was done in HTML. The problem comes in is when you need to make global changes. Unless you have a tool, you get a lot of work. And in one way or another, people use content management tools. And so we had a discussion about, whether that's good or not going to work or whatever. But if you have that magnitude of pages, you need something to make it easy to change. And I'm going to talk about a few tools. And the ones I talk about are open source. I'm not into spending money. I'm like Leroy in that way. This is another reputation that Leroy has. Leroy gets stuff cheaper than everybody. We talk about Leroy prices.
Leroy price.
Yeah. And then search came along. Now, before I go too much further, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a responsive web site, one that I use for my camp. I'll show you what's on there first, and then I'll show you a little bit about how that's done.
Maybe.
This is kind of a registration site. And when I get a chance, when I show you it being sized different, I'm going to use a different browser because Mozilla Firefox has a nice tool that you can simulate different screen sizes, and it'll look just like it looks on the device. But earlier we were talking about, so this is full size, and we were talking about, where's my link? I should know this thing. Okay, what's done in the camp? I said I was into a lot of things. This is it's a 13-week camp, and there are really two things going on. There's a camp for beginners, and this page is going to show the beginners. First thing they do is this is HTML, and it's done straight in HTML using Notepad, and they type it in and everything. It's a calculator. In about 30 or 40 minutes, they should get it working. And so this is the way you start. And it's one of those things that they have 5 hours, so they're never going to finish. Because every time they get something working, I'm going to say, why don't we add another key to do X, Y, Z? So it's one of those non-finished kind of thing. The second week, they do a Visual Basic project. And this is actually pretty easy to use. It uses Microsoft Visual Basic. And what the application does essentially is calculates the cost of a ticket. So they have to do, they're given like 3 pieces of paper. It's going to have the layout, where the widgets to be, what name should you name them, and they're given some code, and they need to get it basically working. And then it's the same thing. Like this one doesn't have sales tax on it, but why don't you calculate the sales tax, 7%? Or why don't you give a discount if you buy 10 tickets? So they have the code, when they're finished with this for the basic one, so they can basically improve on it. And Visual Basic is actually for, I think, almost anybody, the easiest language to get into and start doing stuff fairly quick. The next week, they do a Windows Phone, and the language and the setup for that is very close to what they did the week before. It's just a different ticket. And as far as building a phone app, this would be the way to go, except nobody's got Windows phones. That happens to be the problem. It's a lot harder to build an app for Android. And we're doing that in the more advanced camp. Then they get 3 weeks of like custom website building. And the first week, you teach them some tags, and you start off that way. And then you start using a tool. Visual Web Developer 2010 is one. Visual Studio 2013, Visual Studio 2015. These tools, they're very close. And they also offer templates. Let's see one that some girls built. And you know, once they build this website, it gets linked so they can show their friends. Let's pop that one up.
These are all high school kids.
These are high school kids, actually 8th through 12th, but the average kid's probably sophomore or junior. We have a few 8th graders, and it really was for high school, 9 through 12. But part of the story is by the time they get senior, we call them senioritis.
Yeah.
They're interested in all kinds of stuff, you know, so they can't concentrate anymore.
Right.
So mostly it's the freshmen, the sophomores, and the juniors. They can actually concentrate. This is actually built from a template. This is not what the template looks like, but you know, they can modify the code to get the look that they want. And actually this one was done by 3 girls, and so they were into shoes.
I like that template.
Well, you can have it, but this is not the one that it came from. I mean, they changed it. I'm trying to think of, there's a name for it.
Yeah.
In any case, what's done in the camp is they're taught how to do things like this, because some of them are going to be picked for more advanced training where they have to build a complete application that accesses a database and uses you know, middleware and HTML. They have to do it in 7 hours. Now the upside is the national competition. If you win, you get money. And of course, if you didn't win, you still had a nice trip.
Right.
And you learned a lot of stuff. But they have to get past this. Where am I? Okay, here we go. So this is week 4, 5, and 6. Then we get into some Arduino stuff. And it looks like YouTube is missing something here. But they get a basic project with the Arduino. This one happens to be a soil sensor. And there's a stoplight controller that's supposed to be here. Let me refresh the page.
There it is.
This is a controller. I've built like 18 of these things, and they have wires, and they connect it up to the Arduino, and then they have to write a program to control it. They write one program to just make it look just like a stoplight. There's another program that they run to test it, and then they have to connect it to a toggle switch. So if the switch is in one position, it's normal and it'll act as a stoplight. If the switch is in second position, then it just goes through the sequence of making sure all the lights work. And this is in C++ actually,
Okay.
kind of a.
Are they doing that in Visual C++?
No,
Studio or
we use the Arduino application.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then we also have a robotics competition. There is a little robot called Zumo, and we have a competition where they load the code, and this year they modified the code. They modified the code so that they can change direction and change the speed. You know, I actually brought I brought the video. It just seems like it's not playing for whatever reason. But this is actually the most fun that they have, is actually programming this. And they have to download the code from the website, install it, you know, get the bugs out of it. A good part of this project is just so they get a chance to install code and get it loaded and do debugging, you know. Good part of software, a good part of what Leroy does here is like, it's not magic, you know. You put it in there, it's supposed to work. Doesn't work. All right, I don't know how it's going to work here, but I'll show you part of this. This is from last year. What the heck?
I don't know why.
I think no, it's the now I know what the problem is. It's the browser. Yeah. All right, so let's do this because I have this at home sometimes. Sometimes on some browser for whatever reason, like even when I'm streaming, I'll get that green screen thing. I don't know what the problem is right now. Let's see. Let's go back to.
Now, did any of these students go on to college
Almost
IT or?
almost all of them go to IT or engineering, something like that. One kid this year won that Microsoft scholarship, the one that goes from BS degree to PhD.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Gates.
Yeah.
He won that one.
Wow.
That is the biggie.
Absolutely.
But almost all of them go to college.
One of his former students comes here every great once in a while.
Ooh,
He's building a big robot.
yeah, Brian Pulliam.
Right.
I had one of my girls. I don't have a lot of girls, but I'll show you her project too. They have something called the gold in the Girl Scouts. The top, equivalent to Eagle Scout is like the gold award.
Okay.
So 6,000 students in the country win it yearly. She was one of them, and then she was chosen as one of the top 10 in the world, ladies of distinction. They had a little clip on Dr. Phil's show there, showing her at the camp. I was in the clip.
So you got your 10 seconds.
I got my 10 seconds, I actually have her project too. It's on that same site. We'll try the video later. It's a 210-page manual. And what it does is it teaches you it's a book,
Okay.
and it teaches you how to use ASP.NET and MySQL.
Okay.
ASP.NET is Microsoft, so normally it works really well with Microsoft. But we use MySQL in the competition because it's free. The goal is you want to use tools that nobody has to go out and buy and spend any money on.
Right.
So the database is common. You can use Java, you can use .NET, you can use PHP, but you have to use that database. Those are all free. So as a goal project, she wrote this manual, which is actually 205 pages. It's pretty detailed, and it explains how you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a book. It's a real book. She stayed up a lot of nights working this. And I actually use this now for the classes. Like I'll pick some lessons from here for the advanced kids. We'll go through, like in this case, this section is on check boxes. I'll go through and pick some lessons and we'll work on them. And she has it set up so that she has, what is the beep?
It's my watch.
Oh, she has links
Sorry.
to the web, where there's other information. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. It's just so you just see some stuff here. All right, she has code sections.
Yeah.
In this case, how do you set up a subroutine to? This looks like she's looking at the state of an item. Kind of hard looking at the code, but this thing is, if a student started from the beginning, it's as good as there are actually no books out there that are written like this that just map .NET and MySQL, and so it's a good tool. It's advertised out there. One of the scouting groups in California recently asked her to share this with them. Well, what they really want is permission to use the videos and the pictures that we have. And she's also going to upgrade this to MySQL 5.7 and the Windows Visual Studio 2015, which is what we use now.
Okay.
There's not that much difference,
Right.
but the references need to be changed. So I got off on a tangent, but this is kind of one of the things that comes out of working with kids. The other thing that comes out is that I do a lot of things that I really don't want to do. I mean, I don't have interest in it. And one kid is interested in doing video games now. So I'm learning about video games, but I'm really not interested in video games.
You're looking at the wrong person here.
There are a couple of groups out here in the Cincinnati area that meetups that are on video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. The kids have, I mean, I see the kind of games that they want. I had to relent a little bit because, see, I'm not being with games, look, let's focus. But I have to let up, I give them a break. Okay, you can play the game with the circles. There's this game called Agar.io, and these things float across the screen, and they eat smaller ones, and they get bigger, and you can explode if you get too big. And there's one with the snake that goes across the screen. So I tolerate it, and I do have some lessons on how that might work. How much time have I spent so far? I've exceeded my 20 minutes.
You've exceeded your 20 minutes,
Okay.
but that's all right. You got off on a tangent.
Yeah.
So this competition or whatever was January the 9th, is that what I saw up there?
That was the beginning.
Oh, it was the beginning.
That was the
Okay,
beginning.
so it's,
That portion is done. We're now dealing with the advanced kids. If you know any high schoolers who are really interested in this stuff, they can go to that website and they can sign up. I'm going to set it up for the next year. The robot thing wasn't working. I did want you to see that. Okay, let's try it again. The video wasn't working, and I know it had the problems with the browser. Okay, there it goes. Now this is when Leroy was there. Yeah. Now I'm not gonna let this go full, but what we did is we made a track on some tables, and then loaded a line follow program in there, and so the robot's just following the line.
I'm available to help you if you ever need
Okay, I will. This year we have fewer kids. It's easy to manage, and so. All right, let's go for that. That's monotonous. Here we go. Now, each team prepares a robot, and this is where they really have fun. The robots have a search pattern, and once they find each other, they engage. Somebody's going to get pushed off the board.
It's like sumo wrestling, only with robots. So the idea is to push one out of the ring. And it's actually they actually hold very large competitions everywhere from junior high school clear up to advanced college level in the robots. Anywhere from very small to very large.
And they're using that same Arduino that they use for all the other projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we were doing for that, it was more fun than anything
Yeah.
else.
This is the fun. They enjoy this.
A big competition.
Yeah. They actually go through they go through a lot getting this working. And this year, like I said, we had a few kids who were pretty good at programming. They went through the code, figured out what the speed controls were, and changed the angle of attack. And those things really got wild. You know?
That's good. That's the idea.
That's a plywood board that was just cut out with the jigsaw and paint it. The guy at Home Depot gave me the board. You know, so you can just take it. I went in and told him what I was trying to do. We have 8 now also. I only had 4 when we were doing this. But when I got the mini this year, I bought 4 more, so I got 8. And so there's really a war on the floor with 8 robots. You know.
That ain't going to work. It's got to go like that.
I thought you know, by the time I thought you were about tired of us. We all came 3 Saturdays in a row. You know. Usually I have trouble getting people to put that many in.
Robots and Arduino, I have fun. His students from a little bit that I helped really
yeah, that's
on the stuff.
Yeah, that's part of why, you know, you continue to do that stuff is they pick up. You know, I teach at Cincinnati State, and they pick. Okay. Yeah, they pick up a lot faster than the students at Cincinnati State. Okay, we have a 3D printing exercise, and they use Tinkercad, and what's that other website? Thingiverse. We mostly did Tinkercad, and you know, first you teach them how to use it, and then anything that they want to create, you know, they'll get something that's similar to it and try to modify it. And some people are bold, you know, they want to do their own from scratch. One of the kids, the one that won the Microsoft scholarship, he's the one that built the box for me to hold my ESP8266 controller, you know. He didn't really get it like I want, you know, we had to fight about it a little bit. But it was fun. Yeah. So we do that in a week, and then we do an Internet of Things project. All right, I'm not going to play this one, but this is like a little controller that I have, and I have a garage door opener that I built, you know, using Arduino that you can connect to through the internet. You can open garage doors, close the garage doors, turn on lights and stuff like this. This is just a smaller version, and there's a demo of how it works. And instead of the actual door, it just uses lights. I mean, we use the LEDs for everything. So the beginning kids do that. The last thing they do is they do a show and tell for the parents, where they have to present everything that they have done, and parents get the feeling that, God, my kid is learning stuff, you know. And it's good for them too, because they want to feel good about what they've done. And then after this, we pick at least 5, but we're there now, where we have like 6 students who are being trained some very advanced stuff about how to develop websites using database. Mm-hmm. Also, part of this competition is you have to prepare for something like the AP computer science test. So we go through AP computer science kind of training. It's done in Java, so you do some programming exercises, and they have to learn how to take that test. It's kind of the bottom line. And so we go over, you know, objects are and methods and anything that's going to be on that test. It's really driven by that test. And if you're a sophomore and you've taken if you've gone through this, you know, you're going to be better when you take the class in high school.
Mhm.
And hopefully you're going to get 5 on that test when you take it. Get 5 on the test. You don't have to take some of those beginning computer science classes. You know, you get credit plus you get it waived. And I have twin sons. They didn't go through this program, but you know, they went through that AP computer science experience. It's not for everybody, but
Oh, sure.
it's a good experience though. All right. Was there anything else? There's more stuff, but I'm gonna save it for next week. Because actually, what I want to show you is the development environment and how using Visual Studio 2015.
So we're going to go Frank's demo part 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
Frank's demo part 3 next week.
Okay. I guess that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I could go on for a while.
your 20 minutes went. Click on stop casting. That should free up the Chromecast.
Okay.
Unless you weren't done casting.
And I'm done. Because I could do at least that much.
At least that much more.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Part of my motivation for learning stuff is dealing with these kids because they want to do stuff.
Mhm.
And there's some of it that they have to do because of this competition. That test is going to show up. They're going to have to develop an application. They have 8 hours, and they need to develop a pretty complex application on the spot. So you make sure they know everything they need to know to do the application. And you're not going to know what the application is. I mean, they don't tell you. You know, that we used to try to guess, like it was an Olympics year or something like that, and we say, okay, it's going to be like a scoring system for the Olympics. But every time you guess that, you guess wrong. So you just try to prepare them and hope for the best.
So, first, I'm going to ask something that's sort of related to what Frank said before I do mine. Are you familiar with the 8266?
No. Can't say that.
Okay. The 8266 comes in a multitude of flavors, but it's a little microcontroller board that has Wi-Fi built into it. And some of the flavors, the bigger flavors have like 12 I/O on them. So you could program them using the Arduino IDE. You've got onboard Wi-Fi and plenty of memory to do quite a bit. I believe it's 4 megs of RAM on the big ones, which is quite a bit of RAM.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful devices. They're a little
more library functions.
Yeah, they're a little tricky to start with, but once you get it like that, it's just like it was that simple kind of stuff.
And it works good.
And it works good. Yeah.
Particularly the big one.
We went. I know Frank went through like 4 or 5 of the small ones before we got the big one. The big ones work great every single time. The small ones are really picky. Are really picky. But if you ever want to do something Internet of Things with Wi-Fi, ESP 8266s, and they're cheap. They're under $5.
Whoa.
Well, okay, I'll preface that. The small ones are under $5. The bigger one is closer to 10. But
Still,
Around
really.
yeah.
So
So
get one quick. If you want to get it quick, it'll cost you $14 because you have to get it locally. If you wait for it to come from China.
yeah, you can get them cheap
Actually,
from
like the
China.
last ones I got was like about $8. The last ones I got.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 of the big ones bookmarked right now for $6 plus free shipping. So $6, or one of the big ones. But I will get into my demo now. So we're all familiar with DTMF touchtones. It's what telephones use, right? It's what the telephones use. It was come up with by Bell Labs in the early 60s. Well,
They actually deployed it. They deployed it in the 60s. Yeah.
MF was done during WW2, but DTMF was the 60s.
Yeah, I knew it was in the switches and it was in phones.
Yeah.
I think.
But,
I know it had these Princess phones.
we are all familiar with touchtones. The annoying sound that comes out of your cell phone or a phone. And up here I have a chart. It's basically a matrix. It's a 16 number matrix. So there's always, if it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or the letter A, there's always going to be a 697 hertz component. If it's going to be 1, 4, 7, or star, there's always going to be a 1209 hertz component. So it's a matrix of 2 tones.
Phone system would connect up tone decoders.
Yeah, and then you've got it was designed to make it readable for machines. Machines can use these tones to do various things.
Collect a lot of them, then you do digital analysis. Actually, I was in call processing.
Yeah, I know. I know you know all about this stuff. You know a lot more about it than I do.
That is some interesting stuff.
But
and in the 70s, Wozniak and Jobs were hacking using the whistle from
Captain
Crunch serial.
They did.
well, I have this. You probably would be able to tell me. You know, telephones only have 1, 2, 3. They only have the numbers in the star and the pound. The A, B, C, and D aren't on telephones, which would suggest to me that those are special tones for doing extra switching or something. Like the lineman phone would have A, B, C, and D
I don't
on
remember
it.
if those worked. So in your decoding, what does that decode to?
A decodes to, let's see, 10, 11. A is 12, 13, 14, and 15.
I know you can detect the star, the pound sign.
Yep.
Those are legal digits.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm almost curious because I can generate the tones.
Oh, okay. I don't remember doing anything with that.
I'm almost curious, but
So it's generating almost a chord?
uh-huh.
Okay. Just two notes.
2 tones. That
I'm pretty sure that the touch tone decoders could decode it. The question is what do you do with it? Because it's not part of digital analysis.
oh, the ABCD. That's why I'm thinking that they used it to do switching on the network or something. I don't know. I don't know. Turn things on and off. I don't know. I've got a little decoder though, and that was $3 from China. It works great. It does the same sort of similar thing. It sets up a matrix, and you get a pattern out of it. So there's 4 wires plus 2 signal wires. You really only need to use one of the signal wires for the Arduino. When the signal wire goes high, it means that it's decoded. It's heard something that it can decode, and then you read the 4 bits as being high or lows.
Okay.
So
you're going to tell us what you're doing with this
well,
distinct digits?
Yes,
Or
maybe.
do you work with just one digit, or are you doing?
I'm
or
doing
collecting digits?
I'm working at one digit at a time on this
So
for this
you're
particular.
not going to collect 3 and then decide that that's decoded.
I ran out of time. I was going to.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, I ran out of time. I was going to do I've got speed control in this,
Yeah.
and when I was going to do speed control, I was going to make it so that you actually type in a speed that you want it to go, and I just ran out of time.
So that'll be next week, Leroy 2?
Maybe. Honestly, for this particular project, it's a little impractical because I have to be wired to it so it can hear the tones.
Ooh.
Yes, I know. I said the same thing. But I'm using 2, the number 2, the number 8, the number 4, the number 6, the star, and the pound. 2 will make it go forward. 8 will make it go backward. 6 will turn it. 4 will turn it.
So you're using 2, 4, 6, all even numbers.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Is there some significance?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is there significance in 2, 4, 6?
2 is it right in the center of the keypad. 4 is
Okay.
in the center of the keypad.
Yeah.
Left, right, forward, backward.
Okay.
So,
Pattern.
so if I hit the pound key though, it should increase speed, and it did. See if I got my pound and my. Yes, I got my pound and my thing backwards. So, pound slows it down. Star speeds it way up. Pretty simple.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? If you,
I
it's a way that actually you could program it to do stuff if you collected enough.
collect.
Yeah.
Yep. Plug it in.
Yeah.
Hit a bunch of numbers. Unplug it.
Yeah. Go.
Hit a button and tell it to go.
So this is not Wi-Fi?
No, it's wired.
See, we were talking about what was the project? We went on a tangent.
Oh, Jim
Yeah.
Jim wanted to take his. It's basically to stop spam
Answering
callers.
machine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he wanted it to say a message and them to hit the number 1. And then if they actually hit the number 1, it would ring a bell or buzzer or something, so we would know that it was a real call. And that's how we got talking about the whole DTMF decoders and everything.
Okay.
I never really thought that it was practical for the robot. It's just I've got the robot. It
Just something interesting.
was easy enough to show it off on the robot.
Plus, he gets to buy another gadget.
Plus I got to buy another gadget. But I can probably, let's see. I will show you the code if you're interested in that. It's not real complex code. It's the complex part of the code is what I wrote to make the thing drive a long time ago. There we go.
That's a custom robot.
That is a custom robot. That is called the BittyBot.
The BittyBot.
The BittyBot. So all our code, or at least most of the code, is up on our GitHub repository. So if you ever wanted to look at the code or anything, I usually put a usage license in my stuff that, free to do whatever, modify it, and as long as you leave credit in there where it came from or whatever. So the first part of the code here, these guys have already seen it, but this is a class for driving the actual motor that I came up with a while back. And what the class lets you do is it will set the motor to go for a certain period of time, and you go back into the routine and you check every few seconds to see if it has exceeded that period of time and stop. Meanwhile, the Arduino could be doing other things like checking the ultrasonic, checking for other numbers pushed or whatever, while the motors are still driving the machine around.
Okay.
So that's why I would use the class. So that there's a lot of little subroutines inside the class itself to cause you, like, if I want to tell it to, well, mouse, do what you're supposed to do. If for some reason I think that it's not going fast enough and I need it to ramp up real fast, I could tell it bot ramp.
Okay.
And the class will take care of shooting a ramp speed up real fast.
Okay.
Here you see where it says on time, the initial speeds of both motors. So you send it the 3 parameters, how long you want to keep the motors running and the speed that you want the motors to run at. So you could actually send 2 entirely different speeds. So if you know that one of your motors runs a little bit faster than the other, you could go and zero it in so that you get a pretty straight line.
You do stuff like this and you start to get a good understanding of these components, and because it's not perfect.
Yeah.
When you pay, is that $1 or $2 for a motor?
Yeah.
They're not going to be the same.
Okay.
And in fact, even the shape of the wheel will be different, and that causes the motors to spin
Oh, interesting.
differently.
Yeah.
The surface of the table, like, it runs wonderful on this table, but at home,
Okay.
not so much. So I have to either make the speed go much faster at home or
Okay.
vice
So
versa.
you compensate for cheap stuff. in
So that's-
software.
Yes. So that's why you get, if you know that your right motor is spinning a little faster, you tell the left motor to go 20, and you tell the right motor to go 15.
Okay.
So that equals
Right. Try to
the same
Make you go straight.
speed. And for the most part, that works. Most of the time. But there's a lot of that stuff. And then this little routine right here is also in the class, and that's where you actually go back and you check to make sure, have I exceeded, my run time is 100 milliseconds or 200 milliseconds or whatever. This is where it checks and says, have I exceeded that? And if I have, I'm going to go and stop, and I'm going to shut the speed back down to 0. And then at one point I had sensors on the wheels themselves, so I could count the revelations of the wheel. The calibrate came in play there because I needed to know where each wheel started at.
Okay.
So it would rotate one wheel, get the count, it'd rotate the other wheel, get the count, and in theory, both wheels should be at the same spot.
So, did that work?
Not quite the way I wanted it to, but yes, it worked.
That was actually one of the problems that we were struggling with. It was with that particular one actually counting the wheel revolutions.
Yeah.
And get feedback from it.
Yeah, but yes, because there's very little room for encoders inside of there,
Okay,
so I put them on the outside of the wheel,
okay.
and it worked. It just wasn't quite as good as I wanted it to be because it was only one encoder instead of counting a whole bunch of numbers. So anyway, this is where the actual DTMF stuff comes in. Now we're actually in here. So you basically set up the 4 input lines plus the trigger line, which could actually be any of the I/O, any of the digital I/O. It just happens to be the first few. And then this is where this is where the actual magic happens. So I'm calling out to a different subroutine to check the see if I've got a tone. Meanwhile, if the motors are running, it's still running through all this. It's going to reset the tone that it reads to 0, and it's going to go back up and it's going to check to see if the time limit has exceeded for the motors running. But this is where where it actually listens. So like I showed you on that other chart, there's 2 trigger lines. One of them will be a high when there's nothing. The other one will be a high when there's something, when something is there. So I'm using the one line that is triggered by highs. So if it's a high, we know that it's got a good decode. It decoded a tone good. So it then goes through and checks the 4 lines, and if line 1 is a high, it will add 1 to the number. If line 2 is high, it will add 2 to the number. If line 3 is high, it will add 4 to the number. And if line 4 is high, it will add 8 to the number. Remember, we're dealing with 16 numbers, so there's four digits. So that will give you anywhere from 0 to 15. So that's pretty much it. And then if it does detect a thing, we come back up here and we say, if it equals 2, go forward 100 milliseconds with a left and a right speed, which I set way up there somewhere.
Does the stop really work?
Stop really does work, but the milliseconds is so low that you don't even really need the stop. I put stop in there just because. See, if we did what you said, we could actually program it so that it would take like a 3-digit or a 4-digit millisecond time. We want it to run for 15 seconds or whatever. It's 15,000 milliseconds. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we could really get fancy with it. We could.
No, you could, because that's actually what they do with the telephone system.
Yeah, I ran out of time. I did something fast and simple and easy to explain, basically.
Yeah. You could do some really sophisticated stuff, but you have to write a lot of code. A lot of code.
Well, I was going to try to get a little bit more advanced to just for the speed.
Yeah. Cause
And like I said, I just ran out of time. It's just the house is selling and all this other stuff's going on, and I just ran out of time to do it. So maybe next week I can do something where it counts the pulses and says 255, yes, good. 60, no, bad, too slow, won't turn my motors. So, but that's the basics of it. It's pretty darn. This little board makes it super easy to decode, and you really don't even need the microcontroller. All you need to do is be able to read the highs and lows off of those pins.
Okay.
They're 5 volts, so.
But if you don't have the microcontroller, how are you going to tell the motors what to do?
Well, I'm thinking for
Because you got this code that's running.
but I'm thinking for Jim's application, if you just want to sit there and look for the high on the 1 pin or on the 2 pins that he wants, all it needs, because it'll send 5 volts up, so he just needs to tie into those 2 lines, and if those 2 lines go high, it could go off and trigger the 12 volt relay or the 5 volt relay to sound the buzzer.
I think there's going to be a little bit more needed. I remember there was this other thing we were talking about coming out of that library over in Milltown. It just blew up.
Jim comes up with some ideas, doesn't he? The
Satellites.
the
Tracker.
Doppler radar shift.
Yeah.
So, yes, we did Doppler radar shift.
This will be
Yeah.
one of those kind of things.
Okay.
Yes. I actually volunteered myself for that whole Doppler radar shift thing. Almost worked too.
So what was the goal?
For this?
No, for the radar Doppler thing.
Oh, you were here.
I don't remember.
We did the. He wanted to be able to tell you how fast a satellite was moving overhead,
Oh.
and I ended up just doing a regular Doppler radar with the little Matchbox car. Slide the Matchbox car, and it would tell you how fast it was moving across.
It's kind of like one of those problems where, oh, that would be easy.
That's Jim.
Yeah.
That's easy.
And then we keep going down the road. Ooh. This problem is that problem.
That's pretty much my demo. Check this out, Frank. Check this one out. What do you think of this website here? If it will show the website. Yeah, I remade this. This is my version of our website.
Oh. Okay. So where is that located?
It's kind of hidden in my stuff.
Links all work?
Everything works.
Okay.
It's not all related to it's not all related to what we do. It's just kind of a demo site to modernize the old site.
So
To show
that's on
it's on
Google?
Google, yeah.
Okay.
The wiki works.
Did you show that to Jim?
I did. I think he likes the old site though.
Yeah.
I think the old site looks a little dated. Just me. Maybe it's not just me.
Yeah. Jim, see, the thing is, Jim knows how that works. He knows how it works. It's reliable. He knows where everything is. Everybody else just got to catch up. Keep up.
Keep up.
I sent you the link. Did you read your email?
Same as that.
So it's really, I don't really have. You're going to finish up
Well,
part 3, and I'll try to do a little bit more with this.
I'll show you something else that I'm doing with the kids. Actually, next week I'm not going to be here because I'm going to San Francisco. So I have to be the week after that.
What are you doing in San Francisco?
I got 2 sons out there, and another one is in Portland. He's going to come in for part of the weekend. But
You got one in Port Hillsborough, don't you?
the one that's near Hillsborough that lives in Portland. Actually, he moved into the city. He used to live actually in Hillsborough, but he moved into the city now downtown with the Yuppies.
He's downtown with the Yuppies?
Yeah, he bought a condo down there.
You want to hear a crazy thing? My dad worked in the accounting office downtown in Portland, Oregon, and I worked there as summers with him, okay? And we went back there about 5 or 6 years ago to take a look at his old office. You know what they were? Condos.
Yes,
Took them all, took the whole
Yes,
city block and made the whole thing condos.
Housing prices are
Crazy, huh?
yeah, they're going up because the Yuppies are moving in. They're attacking. They're taking over.
Yeah.
They have taken over San Francisco.
Yeah,
They have definitely taken over San
Yeah.
Francisco.
one of my sons lives about 11 miles. He works downtown San Francisco. The other one works at Intel, and he is about 30 miles away. He lives in not Santa Clara, one of those towns. I'll know when I go this time. He's got a condo too. Most people can't afford to live downtown. My youngest son's boss bought a 1-bedroom in San Francisco for $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1-bedroom house.
Yeah.
My dad built the house that we lived in when we grew up. My grandfather helped him, okay, and it cost him $18,000.
Yeah.
He sold it for $25,000.
Yeah.
And we went back,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
about 25 years later, $450,000.
Yes,
Same house.
We talk about, my sons talk about, Cox Road. They got these little bungalows, early 70s houses, $600,000 in San Francisco. 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know where you get the money to live out there.
Well, you have to have a good job.
It's Silicon Valley. There's a bunch of tech stuff out there.
You have to have a good job.
Expensive out there.
And then people live further away.
See, now Hillsborough is outside of Portland. It's
Yeah, but
way
Hillsborough is actually, the housing costs there are much cheaper than in the city.
But it's a Democratic state too.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, that's liberal,
It's very liberal. I know that.
extremely liberal.
I don't know.
What? No, it's very
I'm just
liberal.
here.
Another wild thing is like you see a lot of homeless people, and you see people who you would have considered, like, if you remember when there were hippies, they're like hippies, and they're still there.
Oh yeah.
Hippies are cool.
Yeah. The hippies that used to be in San Francisco, they can't be in those same spots.
No, they're gone.
They're gone.
Rent control went out.
Yeah.
No, I'm going out to Oregon myself this summer.
Mm.
Going out to Hillsborough,
Mhm.
going out to Portland.
I tell you what else is good. The restaurants are good too, because 2 years ago we went to Portland, and we went on all tours, and they took us. Actually, 2 of them came out. Took us to some really nice restaurants and stuff like that. I mean, they have good restaurants in this area, but
They have pretty good seafood.
Yeah.
Seafood. San Francisco, down Fisherman's Wharf, beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
I
fantastic.
haven't been there in a long time. But we're
We're
gonna go. We're gonna go to Alcatraz this time too.
Oh, that should be
I went there
interesting.
twice. I couldn't get enough of it the first time. I spent the whole day. I had to go back for the second day. And I made a mistake, okay? I said, I want to know, you have these little headman sets you walk around and everything. Well, then they have a like tour guide there. I says, I want to know where the hole is. I want to know where solitary confinement was. And she took me and the group to the solitary confinement. And they put me in solitary confinement.
They put you in there.
I asked to be put in there. I tell you what, that is spooky.
After about 5 minutes, I said, I want out!
Just less than 5. But it's you walk into this cell, okay, and they open up a door, and you walk into another cell, and they shut the door, and you are in total darkness.
Wow.
There is no light switch. You got a bed to lay on and a can, and everything is dark. And the door they slide your food in, no light comes in. It's dark. You are in total darkness, and there's no noise, no radio, no nothing.
Go crazy pretty quick.
You go crazy there. Yeah.
You missed that the last time I was there, because I was on a schedule, and my youngest son had to go to the bathroom, so we missed the boat, and I said, we're not going to wait for that.
They have a nice World War II submarine there, right there by the dock. Okay, you can go to the tour. Submarines in World War II were mainly torpedoes and big batteries.
Is that a U-boat or one of ours?
One of ours.
Oh, okay.
The U-boat is in Chicago. Okay, that's pretty cool too. I mean, they have it, and I haven't been there for about 15 years, but the U-boat used to be outside. Okay, it started to get a little rusty. So they built an underground tomb for it, and you go down underground and go inside it there. But the thing about a submarine is they never allow you to go up where the periscope is. They'll give you a tour, but never up in the conning tower up there.
I've been up there.
Well, I know you have, okay, but it wasn't a tour. Oh yeah, it was a tour.
It was a tour. It wasn't that kind of tour.
Yeah, we didn't have submarine on the list. Where's the submarine?
Right down there, right by the boat where you get on to go up to by Fisherman's Wharf.
By Fisherman's Wharf?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's where the trolley car goes down,
Yeah.
makes a big circle, and then goes back up, right down there by the circle. Yep. Cool place.
We kind of made our list. Have you ever been to Winchester Mansion?
No.
You should go there. That was the widow of the guy that invented the Winchester. And of course, this woman is rich, and she was also a little bit off because she had this house that she was inspired by ghosts or something like that. And she felt like if she kept building rooms, then she would be forgiven for all the people that were killed by the.
She actually built staircases that went up to went nowhere.
There were windows in the center of the floor, and she had all of these special passages. The people that worked for her, I mean, she used to hide in the house, and they didn't know where she was. She had this bell system so she could summon them. The woman was crazy, but the house was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I read a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So,
We went there last night.
Do you have any questions for?
No, very good, very interesting.
Well,
crazy.
Yeah.
we do all kinds of stuff.
Okay,
So
well,
don't be a stranger.
I'll try to get out here again sometime.
So you live close?
Not too far away.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on traffic, but
Yeah.
just over in, by Sharonville, so it's
Oh, okay.
not bad drive.
I live in Westchester near the Sharonville line, so you come
Yeah.
about the same distance.
Yeah,
It takes about 12 minutes.
yeah, it just sort of depends on the traffic.
Yeah.
What it's like there, yeah.
You take 42?
Yeah.
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 And if you found us on Meetup, there's a link to the website, and I
Okay.
think he stuck the Google Plus page in there
Oh, okay.
and the GitHub page. So
All right.
we've got stuff going on.
All right, good. That's great.
Let's take off, guys.
Okay.
All right.
See you later.
Yeah. I got stuff for later. There is this little compiler thing that they use for